Welcome, beautiful people. Welcome back to another Bible story time. I wanted to be intentional about jumping on here. As you know, things have been so intense and we thought we were turning the corner and then it got a little crazy. But I am so proud just to bring you a good report that my brother's turned the corner. He's doing very well. We are so excited as a family. In fact, I had zero expectations for my birthday. So he is my birthday present, and I want to thank God for his life and the future that he has planned for him. But one of the things I just have to say is that the love that poured in, the posts, the phone calls, the people showed up with beverages at my house, you guys understood the assignments, and I really love you guys. I don't think, I always knew you guys loved me, and I always knew that you guys were here for me, and vice versa. You know, I try to love you in your love language. I try to show up for you in the way you need me to show up for you. But I was overwhelmed. It was like a takedown, y'all. I mean, y'all broke some sort of spirit of sadness over my life. I just felt such a refreshing from the outpouring of love. I don't think I've seen so many posts and so many phone calls and people just who popped up, you know, and just loved on me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It is officially one of the best birthdays I've had in a very, very long time. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was really, really so much light and, you know, what could have been a dark time. But God wasn't having it. God wasn't having it, okay? God was not having it. You know, and I believe God, me and God, you know, let me tell you something. I am not perfect. And that's why today's message is so important, because sometimes you say, well, how can you be this and say you're that? How can you be that and be this? But one of the young coworkers on my job, he said it best. Sometimes you can be two things at one time. Sometimes people and circumstances can be two things. The two things can be true, right? I am broken. I have flaws. I don't always make the right decisions. I operate sometimes from a place of fear, but I also am a child of God. I also know who he is. I also know what he is capable of. I am two things at one time. I am two things at one time. I am both human and I am both spirit. And sometimes they collide. Sometimes they collide. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Ways in which life collides with what God says about you. And this, I hope, is powerful. I hope this lands in the way it landed for me. I hope you get some freedom from this message and you apply it to your life. So today I posted on my Facebook just a small little sentence, and it said, he is able to protect you, provide for you, and pardon you. Well, that pardon landed very powerfully for me, because not everyone has the ability to pardon someone. Very few people hold that authority, and that authority cannot be revoked once that pardon is issued, right? So I thought about this in my life. You know, I'm not perfect, and I need to walk in a space that I know that God has pardoned me, that God has given me enough space to make good and bad choices, and that God has given me enough space to analyze and to recognize how much I need him, how much I'm living in a fallen world. You know, I mean, we cannot, I think anyone with any small amounts of intelligence, and even not intelligent, knows that this world is in extreme conflict right now. We can make our TikTok videos, we can be cute, we can hang out, we can have our drinks on the weekends, but the reality is our world is in conflict, and that's always playing in the background. We all know that our world is in turmoil right now. So it's important to establish who you are. Like, I am pardoned, you know, and in each morning I do read my Bible. If I'm showing you this book multiple times, it's because everyone always asks me what book am I using, so I want to make sure I mention it. I read this in the morning, but I also listen to a sermon, and today's sermon just locked hands with this. And the sermon was, you are both released and restored. That blew my mind, because sometimes you spend 20 years in a job and you say, oh my God, I have no other skills. This is all I know how to do. How am I going to get back out there, you know, with technology? But I'm here to tell you right now, you can be both released from an assignment and restored. So you will have more than enough to go out there and do what you need to do. More than enough to start something new. More than enough to acquire a new skill. Don't listen to the lies of the enemy, okay? And what happens when you find yourself stuck in your ways. Like, I've been married 20 something years. Like, this is not for the faint. This is not for the faint, you know. But in my humanness, I bring it all together. Like, Lord, this is what I'm working with. This is what it is. I need to be in a place where I'm both restored and released, because a lot of people can get released. People get released from prison all the time with clothes on their back and the cab fare to get where they got to go. But that doesn't give them any type of foundation to start over. But when God releases you, he also restores you. And that's huge. That's huge. That means that you're fully equipped to start something new. Now, am I saying end your marriage? Am I saying quit your job? Am I saying, make an announcement that you're leaving the country, never coming back? I am not saying any of those things. The only thing I can say to you is, what are you praying for? What are you and God going back and forth? I remember the Bible story says that Jacob struggled with God. He said, I will not let you go until you bless me. And he held on to God. He held on to God so long that the angel had to touch his hip. And he limped for the rest of his life as evidence that he had struggled with God until he got his blessing, And all of us could be at that point where we are willing to struggle with God until we get our blessing. But thank God for the new covenant that we are blessed, we are pardoned, and we are provided for, and we are protected. But more than that, we are restored and released at the same time. This is such a powerful word this young lady released. I'm going to listen to it again because it's important to me. I think about the people in my life who I love dearly. I have the good fortune that, I love my children. I love their dad because we're not, there's no villains here, which is such a blessing because it's so easy to villainize. Like, in order for me to win, you got to lose. No. Disney and the Western world, they painted the villain doesn't get his happy ending, right? The villain is good against evil. People, we know that two things can be true at the same time. Two good people can decide that this is not working. You can be on a good job and decide that that's not your calling. You can be in a good place and want to move. It's not that cut and dry. This is not a fairy tale where there's a happy ending for one person, where there's a villain, a very clearly defined villain, okay? So I love these two words, that God can pardon us, because some of us are feeling like, well, how am I ever going to recover from this? How am I ever going to start over? How am I ever name your thing? Name your thing. If it's a bad report that you have and there's something going on in your body, like, I literally keep weights on my kitchen counter. Okay. I am not Jack LaLanne. Trust and believe that. I do not love exercise. I do not run to the gym and all this excitement. Oh, I'm going to have to return that call in a minute. I really have to focus on exercise. I have to say, this is good for me. This is guaranteeing that you don't go back to the life you used to live. So it looks like I'm going to have to take this call.